Put some respect on the Denver Nuggets. Not Nikola Jokic only. Put some respect on the Denver Nuggets. Each and every guy on the roster. And David Adelman, Nuggets beat Celtics. We'll tell you how on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day, being with us Monday through Friday, being an everydayer and making us your first listen. We appreciate you joining us wherever you get your podcasts or at youtube.com/Locked On Nuggets, where you can join the live show and join all the folks hanging out with the chat, as it is a Victory Wednesday as the Denver Nuggets go 3-2 without Nikola Jokic to end the road trip, beating the Boston Celtics in Boston 114-110 behind Peyton Watson, behind Jamal Murray playing point guard, behind a ferocious fourth quarter defense with rim protection and rebounding that was absolutely phenomenal. The hope for me was that the Nuggets would find 5 wins this month without Jokic, Ryan Blackburn, and they have 3 headed back to Denver. We underestimated them. The fans underestimated them. The media, including the local media, underestimated them. And these players deserve all the credit in the world, along with that coaching staff, for what they've accomplished.
100%. Like there's no other way about it, right? Like the feeling was bleak when Nikola went down on that game, in that game against Miami. And Denver, second game of the road trip, they had just lost a really tough one against Orlando. They drop a blowout loss. They give up 84 points in the second half after Jokic goes down, because obviously everybody's distraught. And you give them quite literally 48 hours to reconvene, to get their breath, to realize, okay, Nikola's only going to be out for X amount of time. He's not going to be out forever. And they turned that around and not only got 1, not only got 2 without all 5 starters in Philly, but they got a 3rd win against what was the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Again, positing my theory that the Eastern Conference ain't anything, Matt. But I do think that just a massive performance for the Nuggets in a very tough situation. The 7th game in a road trip is just, it's a tough spot for anybody, especially for a team that's as shorthanded as the Nuggets are. They deserve a ton of credit for stepping up in this moment.
The West record versus the East is not as good as Ryan thought it would be. I looked up the numbers today.
Yeah. I guessed it. We talked about this earlier. I was about right with what my percentage.
You were closer than Cam, but it was still low. And I knew you were going to go higher because you knew what I was doing. I'm actually talking about the depth of the Eastern Conference on Locked On NBA, which you can check out Monday through Friday. We're going to talk about the actual conferences and do a deep dive on it.
Wizards getting a nice little boost from Trae Young. I'm sure that they'll really improve.
Hey, they have 10 wins. Like they're halfway to their.
No, they're good without Trae Young.
Oh, I think he'll be okay. So there's a whole conversation right now going on, and I wish that like more people were just excited about the win, because this is a phenomenal win. They played together. They got great contributions from Peyton Watson and Jamal Murray. I thought Aaron Gordon played great. Zeke Naji made a bunch of plays. A lot of stuff that Zeke does drives me nuts still, but like he made a bunch of plays. The rim protection at the end was really pivotal.
Huge.
Spencer Jones, before he went out with an injury, because of course he got hurt too, because they have to, no forwards can ever play for the Denver Nuggets. He was making really great plays early in that game. The Nuggets played more pick and roll, drop and hedge coverage, which I really liked. We were debating it in the chat or in our text group with me and Ryan and Swipa. And like, did you kind of see as the game went on why I wanted them to play a little bit more of the drop coverage and at the level with how they were able to kind of like get the ball out of Jalen's hands and scramble him a little bit?
And scrambling and like getting 2 on the ball and putting him into positions where he really has to make a decision is a really big deal. And like Denver has the athletes where they are capable of doing that. Now, to me, I thought that they would be running out of gas at the end of this road trip. So I was like, okay, switch, stay solid, don't give up wide open threes as a result. And fortunately, Denver, like they didn't give up that many open threes. Boston shot hot, especially in the first quarter. I think they were like they made 7 threes in the first quarter, made 8 the rest of the way. So a good job by Denver to scramble out of there and make sure that they weren't getting killed on those perimeter shots, but just a tremendous defensive performance all the way around.
I want to try and find a balance here.
Okay.
Because like, you know me, I'm called contrarian, and that's probably like an accurate description at times. I think the bigger thing is that like I'm always trying to rebalance back towards the most accurate view.
Yeah.
Peyton Watson, I always tell people when somebody's playing rough, I'm like, just like, wait, like he'll have a month when he plays really great. But you can't overreact to that either. Peyton Watson is playing out of his mind right now. He is playing absolutely phenomenal. He is knocking down everything that he puts up. I have some quibbles with how he played tonight from a process standpoint. Like when I talk about, I don't know how sound Peyton's offensive game is yet, because it shouldn't be, because he hasn't had the ball enough to know. Like he's going to come into that, and this team isn't on that kind of curve. They can do that now, and they need it. Without Peyton Watson, they do not win this game. They do not win the Sixers game. They do not win the first one.
The Raptors game.
Like he's been huge. He's been great. He's been phenomenal. Yeah. I am just trying to have perspective as everybody is like, why did we pay Christian Brown $125 million? We should pay Peyton Watson $300 million. Why? But trade him and just put Peyton in the starting lineup.
Okay.
Easy. Peyton will probably have a down month, and then I'm going to be like, no, guys, like remember when Peyton was really good for you when Jokic was out? Like remember that. Like he's really good and really capable. I don't want to undersell, though, the fact that he won them this game tonight alongside Murray. I think Murray was the biggest reason for them winning, despite the plus-minus with his playmaking. I love the way that Jamal Murray played. We'll talk about that in the second segment. But, like, I do not want to hold anything back on Peyton Watson for how phenomenal he has been in terms of being a guy who can create his own shot and is making them right now.
Going from the first year of his career where he didn't play a single lick, and he played the final 7 games of that championship year during the regular season and what was effectively garbage time for Denver, and showed some flashes, to being like the 8th or 9th man in his second season, then being the 7th man in his third season, to now like he has been the 6th man for the Nuggets in a lot of these minutes, and then elevated and become a starter for the Nuggets with the injuries that they have sustained. And like it's natural, I think, to see progression, but the Nuggets have gone from a place where they didn't really trust him. They didn't really give him a lot of these opportunities to explore his game and put him into a place where now I think he's earned at least opportunities to. I
think he's earned every opportunity when they are down multiple starters. I think, and the best player in the world. I think that is absolutely true. And he's made the most of it. The reason I've argued for him being traded is in part because of this. Like he could do this on any team.
Yeah.
Like he can do this on any squad you put him on. He could do this for the Bulls. He could do this for the Wizards. He could do this for the Kings. He could do this for the Lakers. Like there is no team Peyton Watson cannot repeat this performance from. He is this talented. He is this athletic.
Yeah.
And I especially want to credit him because he made a bunch of shots early. And I find that when Peyton starts getting his offense going, his defense starts to slip, because that's a really hard thing for a young player to adjust to, is how do you handle larger offensive load and get back and lock down? But in the fourth quarter and second half, Peyton was actually pretty quiet offensively. He did most of his damage in that first half. And then in the fourth quarter, he was clamps on Jaylen Brown. So it was this awesome game where it's like, it was a Paul George game where it's like he comes out and he scores a ton, and then he shifts into this other mode that helps them win. And I was really impressed with his maturity from that standpoint, Ryan.
And that's the point I think that needs to be made. Like, yes, the role and the number of shots will change over the course of the season. He's going to go back to a role where like things are going to get really uncomfortable when everybody gets healthy and the Nuggets have to make some unfortunate decisions. Like I've talked about this ad nauseum, but I do think that in the meantime, the Nuggets don't survive this run without what Peyton Watson has done. He's had 5 straight games of 20 plus and then had 30 tonight. And sometimes just having production, it allows everybody else to kind of make the effective decisions and be smart with what they like their opportunities, because they're not having to go get these buckets. They're not having to go out and color outside the lines a little bit, and can just stay within the realm a little bit because, okay, you've got this other guy who can do that. You've got this other guy who can just throw the ball to every now and then. And Peyton Watson has been that, whether it's been the fantastic 9 that they had with Philly, or if it's also been with Jamal Murray, creating a lot of great looks for him and opportunities for him in this game tonight.
We will talk about Jamal Murray's performance, but I'm going to ask Ryan. We're going to get into this because I've been like trying to stick up for my guy, but he doesn't want me to. So I'm going to ask Ryan to talk about how he wants to handle the question everybody's talked about, which is the Christian Braun versus Peyton Watson debate. We'll talk about that coming up on Locked On Nuggets. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can manage and grow your savings. I am a Rocket Money user. This show introduced me to it, and I am a user. It's extremely helpful for me because I put all of my business expenses that are subscriptions that I pay for, and there's a lot of them out there for the great data and film and tools that I use in publishing and creating content and covering the NBA. But I need to make sure that I'm getting the most out of them. I don't want to just be spending money no matter what, and I need to be able to track that independently. And Rocket Money allows me to do that, to sort by which account I'm using and what exactly are these expenses. How much am I spending on these subscriptions? Is it within the budget that I'm using? It's all awesome. The automatic transaction categorization is a game changer. You can finally see exactly where your money is going each month. You can set budgets and goals, get personalized insights, and receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, and low balances. It even consolidates your checking, savings, loans, and investments into a single dashboard so you get a clear view of your entire financial picture. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/locked-on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on. rocketmoney.com/locked-on. We're also brought to you today by BetterHelp. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp, and as we roll into the new year, there's a lot of pressure to chase a, quote, new you. But sometimes it isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about feeling a little bit less weighted down. Therapy can help you understand what's been holding you back by giving you an outside perspective on your emotions, motivations, and relationships. And that's why BetterHelp can be such a helpful place to start. Their therapists are fully licensed in the U.S. and work under a strict code of conduct. They match you with a therapist based on your needs and preferences. This was huge for me because I needed a therapist that I knew I could connect with based off of where I'm from and what my views are on the world and the things going on. I needed to feel like I was in a safe environment, and you're able to do that with BetterHelp. So you're not doing all that legwork on your own. If the match isn't the right fit, you can switch to another therapist from their tailored recommendations at any time. It's not just about getting out your feelings. I think that's a big part of therapy. It's about learning strategies. Like a big thing for me has been, I've been working on radical acceptance, which is I get all worked up and crazy when somebody disagrees with me and I get too wound up in this argument, and I have to be better about just accepting something crazy like we should trade Christian Braun and start Peyton Watson. That's crazy to me, but that's okay. That's okay that some people that host this podcast think that. That's insane, but it's okay that they're insane. BetterHelp has served over 5 million people with more than 30,000 therapists, and live sessions average a 4.9 out of 5 rating for more than 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/NBA. That's betterhelp.com/NBA. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us. Ryan Blackburn.
Is there?
Should they just salary dump Christian Braun to give Peyton Watson 40 minutes a night, or should they, or should they ask for a second round pick back? This is a big question.
I think they just have to trade Aaron Gordon.
Your dream has come true. You finally have the chance to do what you want. Play Peyton at the 4.
I'm joking. I'm obviously joking. Like, I do think that there is a world where Denver should go smaller going forward because they need to scramble a little bit more defensively around Nikola Jokic from a defensive perspective. But I do think that like the long and short of it is that when Denver signed Christian Braun and traded for Cam Johnson, they made a commitment that their starting lineup for this season was going to be Murray, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. And I have always been a proponent that Denver should go back to that, and that there is nothing that can happen in between now and then that should change that opinion. Like, Denver deserves to like kind of get to the plan, like plan A, what they expected to go. And there's plenty of time, on January 7th now, between now and the end of the regular season, for Denver to work through this, especially with Christian Brown, and figure out, okay, how can we best get back to the place where we need to be? Because he's still like second game back after an absence of over like nearly 20 games or somewhere around there. Like, obviously he was going to be a little bit rusty. Obviously he was going to be a little bit shaky. And I think it's been more jarring for people because they see what Aaron Gordon has done coming back immediately. And they're like, oh, see, like this, like, look at this other guy who's come back and been great. And they see all the other options that Denver has and think, okay, well, like, why not go with the other options? I think there is a time where Christian Brown is going to win a playoff game for the Nuggets, and he might even win a playoff series for the Nuggets at some point. And like, Denver will ultimately get back to that. And that's not to take away from what Peyton Watson has done. Like, Peyton Watson has also been great. I think he's been better than Christian Brown, obviously, for this regular season, like from a value perspective and an impact perspective. But also that might change in a month.
It is very likely that Christian will play better at some point this year. Everyone's like, yeah, but he was bad early. Yeah, he was. Like, we talked about it. We talked about how much he struggled. But you don't overreact to that, guys. Like, we have multiple years of him being a great piece around Nikola. He does know how to defend around Nikola. He does know how to play off of Nikola. The split cuts with him are incredible. It's not just transition. I've made those jokes, but like, CB was an incredible finisher last year. And Nicholas notes he made the biggest shot of the game today. It's true. He was like, he made that huge three at the end.
One of them.
I think that there is a world. The answer here really honestly might be that they get through this year. I don't think you can give up on Cam Johnson now. I think that would be crazy given the results that they had when they were fully healthy. I think you get through the playoffs and you evaluate who was able to be more effective. If Cam struggles like he has in playoffs and Peyton continues to put up these kind of shots and makes these kind of shots, which is what he's doing, then, and doesn't turn the ball over, then you can move Cam Johnson and then you can sign Peyton to a larger deal to keep him happy and retain him. You also have RFA. And again, continue to tell you, like, this is the risk is if you don't pay him, he's shown what he can do. He's going to be pretty mad because he's going to be like, I did the thing. You said, go prove it. So I proved it. But the Nuggets do have the leverage. And people talk about the second apron. It's just, I agree with you, but it's not going to happen. I agree with you that they should go into it. It's not going to happen because it's an excuse to not spend that money, to be like, we can't restrict our flexibility like this around Nikola. Can't do it. Right. Like, that's why it was designed this way. I think it's a good problem to have when Peyton is playing this awesome, when he is scoring like this at all three levels. Like, I've said that, like, he could be a 3-level scorer, and that's what he's been. Like, that's the irony here is, like, I've always been pretty high on Peyton. I've been like, man, this kid really could develop into a 3-level scoring, like, all-star level player. My skepticism is that he can do this, is that his game is able to translate into when they have Nikola, when they are actually playing playoff level basketball with the starters. And maybe it's as simple as like, hey, they just give him more responsibility on the bench. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's like the compromise here. It's just like, yeah, Peyton's going to have more freedom and opportunity on the second unit, which has been good and bad at times, and is going to get the opportunity to like really shine. I think it's like a really interesting question, honestly, Ryan. Like, there's a way for this to be not a contentious CB versus Peyton thing, because again, I just think everybody's like overreacting to, I don't think Christian's healthy. There was it wasn't the miss. It wasn't that he went for layups that he missed or got blocked. It was specifically that there was a possession in the first half where he tried to close out on Peyton Pritchard and he tried to plant and push off, and either he didn't trust it and push off fully, or he wasn't able to do it. And he was a step behind. So that to me is like really important here.
Yeah.
big part of the defensive stuff is I would tell you this. I did a whole post this year on the Denver Dig talking about how good Peyton Watson is going over screens. He is the best over screen defender on the Denver Nuggets by far. And that's what they need the most. He's not an elite level, but he's the best that they have. And he was really good tonight going over on Jaylen Brown. That was a great matchup for him. I love that matchup for him. I wonder if they would have gone to it anyway if Spencer hadn't gotten hurt, because I didn't like the Spencer matchup on him.
I kind of think that what they were going to do there was that Spencer was going to start on him, Peyton was going to close on him, and they try to like dare Jaylen to win those games and then to challenge that matchup and kind of change up it's like a change up for baseball or something, or just an alternate. So no, I think your larger point here is well regarded, and I think it makes sense. And I think the theory behind the practice for what the Nuggets should be is that Christian Braun was paid to be a relatively low volume player in the starting lineup. And Peyton Watson, like in theory, could be a higher volume player with the second unit. Now, what happened in the first 12 games or so of the season was that when Murray was staggering with Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, Jonas Valanciunas, and Peyton Watson, and that was the lineup that they went with, it wasn't good, in part mostly because of the defense, and I think that they'll have to figure that out. Now that having Spencer Jones and trusting him, I think is extremely valuable in that regard. But Denver, I think, like if they go with Cam Johnson in that second unit instead, and then you have Cam Johnson and Peyton Watson playing together, maybe Peyton Watson's the guy that comes in for Cam Johnson so he could get some extra minutes. But like, there's no reason why in those lineups with Cam Johnson, Jonas Valanciunas, Tim Hardaway, why Peyton Watson can't take an occasional possession and run with it and try to attack a matchup and get downhill and things like that. Like, there's just no reason why that can't happen.
Yeah.
Now, will they try to slow it down and run a whole bunch of two-man game? And Tim Hardaway, will he take a whole bunch of ISO threes and like off the dribble threes and things like that? Or will Jonas Valanciunas get into the post a whole bunch and kind of take up some of those possessions? That's a good question. Jonas Valanciunas has been really good for Denver when he's doing that, though. So it's a tough question. Denver's got a lot of options, and it's one of the reasons why Peyton sometimes falls into the background in those situations, is that when everybody's healthy, there's other really good offensive players out there. So those guys get the shots too.
We'll talk about Jamal in the final segment because he deserves, I think, a lot of credit for this. I think my big thing here is just I don't want to they've played 37 games.
Yeah.
And Christian's played significantly less of them, and I don't want to react to either one of them. I didn't want to overreact when we thought Peyton was going to like be incredible because of how he looked in preseason and his early season when it was the full roster. You know, that time when they had the full entire roster, Peyton was just kind of the same Peyton we've seen. Makes a couple blocks, has a couple plays, makes a couple of mistakes. He was good. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't bad. He was
They didn't
good.
run anything for him though. Like they didn't really let him kind of freestyle in the way that he's done now.
And if I'm wrong and they're like, no, because I absolutely can be wrong here. And Ryan and Swipa can be right that it's like, it's time to just like get out of the way and let Peyton cook. I am very skeptical of that from this team standpoint for a number of reasons, but that can happen and it can work. There's ways in which this can work. And if it does, I'll just be like, hey man, he did the thing. Like he's just like elevated and he's a star now. He is playing like an absolute all-star. And it's been phenomenal for them at the exact right time because again, they are 3-2 without Joker. When this chat was full of people who said that they were not going to win a single game until he got back. And you didn't think so, really.
Of course. We both discussed and said, okay, rest of the road trip, we're not predicting a win or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you talked about probability and just giving yourself an opportunity and then playing hard. And Denver has done those things and kind of, I think, gone through the process in the correct way. Like if they had played hard and lost the game, like it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. They didn't play great in Brooklyn. And part of that might've been the matinee start, but like, it's clear that they are talented enough, even without Jokic, to survive better than people expected.
Go rewatch the Brooklyn show for us after this stuff.
Ooh, don't do that.
I beseech you. Go read the comments. Hey, I had great takes in that game. I had great. We'll talk about Jamal Murray and we'll talk a little bit about Zeke Naji as well coming up here on Locked On Nuggets. Fridays already feel different during basketball season. FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern, that would be 4 to 5:30 Mountain Time, have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Ryan Blackburn just referenced 6'7". There's actually, I turned it on my kids and started saying it so much that they posted a no 6'7" in the house poster.
Wow. So you just made it uncool. Like
true. That's the best. If parents are listening and you want to get rid of it, that's the way to do it. Is you just set them up and do it that way. And I would ask my son. I'd be like, well, how many weeks until your next test? He's like, I don't know, 4 to 5. I was like, are you sure it's not 6, 7? And he was like, I hate you. No. So,
you're so old and crotchety. It's crazy.
I am very old and crotchety, which is why I'm constantly doing things like, hey, I know Peyton Watson has played absolutely awesome basketball, but maybe you should slow down a bit because it's making shots is actually bad. So Jamal, I have never enjoyed watching Jamal Murray as much as I enjoy watching him right now. He's got so many passes in his bag right now. His evolution as a passer, assists are not a good way to evaluate you as a passer. I think you have to generate them in order to be considered great, but they're actually not the best way to do it. But the ones that Jamal are creating, this is what always gets me is it's not just the creativity. Steph Curry is a very creative passer. He's a terrible passer. Yeah. Steph Curry is a terrible passer. Go watch how many of his passes are slightly off the mark. They're just never really where they should be. Jamal's passes are right where they should be. Like left-handed sliding, like, so the one late where he drove 2 guys down, forced the help, and that led to the empty corner for Peyton. Chef's kiss.
Bounce pass on the baseline. Sure. Absolutely.
Just phenomenal. And like, this is real point guard stuff. And it's ironic that he came into the league, I think expecting to be kind of Steph Curry. That's who he looked up to, that he turned into this 2-man game point guard. And now, honestly, like, this is a league where you can't find guys like Jamal's playing right now. Because everybody in the league needs what Jamal's doing. Hey, can you set the offense, take guys off the dribble, and then deliver the right pass by seeing the floor? Like, it's Chris Paul point guard stuff. And that is so much more valuable than just trying to be a pull-up shooter unless you're Steph. And it is going to pull up.
I'm sorry. I'm going to pull up the total number of the 15 assist games that guys have had throughout this year, because I mean, Jokic has had some, but like, how many times have you seen other guys actually have 15 assists in a game this season? And Jamal's done it twice in a row, and like the turnovers are low in this case. Like, you're right about the efficiency, especially. Like, he has been just dominant on that front. It's been really cool to see.
He deserves so much credit for the leadership he's shown this year. They were doing like the highlights. So it was cool on ESPN. Like, they were doing like here's like what's on deck tonight, Wemby, Luka, and there was like Murray, Jaylen Brown. And when they did it, it was like a shot of Jamal talking to Duran and like giving him direction as like a floor general. I am so freaking impressed with Jamal. And it sucks that if I ask him what has changed, he's gonna be like, guys made shots. That's all he's gonna ever tell me. It sucks. I really want to know like what he sees on the floor, because I think it's so fascinating to see a player evolve to this point in his career. And I know most of it's just like he's gotten more experience, but man, the instincts that he's had this year are so terrific, and the confidence, and he has just been absolutely terrific. Like, I have so much respect for what Jamal has given this team this year.
10 total guys in the NBA have had 15 plus assists in a game this season. Jokic has had 4 total games. He leads the NBA. And now 4 other guys have 2 such games. Cade Cunningham, Trae Young, Vince Williams Jr. in that stretch where he was playing point guard for Memphis when they were injured, and more fun. And now Jamal Murray. Like, Jokic and Murray have 6 15-plus assist games between them, and the rest of the NBA has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11. Like, Denver's the best passing team in the NBA. They did lose Russell Westbrook last year, and obviously he was a major passing factor and one of the reasons why they were challenging for the team in history lead for assists per game. They're not going to do that this year, but they are more efficient than they were last year. And one of the big reasons is that Murray, of course, has upped his game. It's not just as a scorer. He's also a better passer than he's ever been.
Zeke Naji made a bunch of plays tonight. He was huge. The final defensive numbers don't reflect how good this was. They were down. They had Boston to a 111 defensive rating when it was 11, and then all the hijinks started at the end as Boston tried to claw back. So they wound up with a 120 offensive rating, but it's not indicative. Just like I thought in the Cavs game, it's not indicative of actually how they played defense. They played really great defense tonight. I will tell you that with Zeke, I am still kind of okay, but consistency is the thing there. I think Peyton's shown that he has been on this tear for, I don't know, when did he really start to pop? Mid-November?
Yeah, mid-November is when he got into the starting lineup and he had some big games and then had some small games, but really it's when with Jokic out that he has fully solidified, am here now.
For sure. Because shot selection doesn't matter. So in the last 2 months, he's made this leap, and that's a long period of time for him to do this. Yeah. With Zeke, what you're really seeing is just this stretch without Nikola, because he's getting those minutes because Nikola and Jonas are both out. So I'm just kind of I thought Zeke was great tonight. Zeke still does a number of things that I think are frustrating. I still think, but maybe it's he's improved. Maybe he's finally starting to come into his own. Maybe this is the thing that kind of boosts him. I actually wish they would switch him a little bit less. I don't understand the value. So here's my thing, Ryan. I don't understand switching when you are this undersized.
I don't. So, I mean, I think that's kind of the time when you do it, honestly. A lot of these other guys, they have, I know that Neemias Queta dominated on the offensive glass, and that was one of the factors.
He had a double-double with offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds, Ryan.
Yeah, 100%. He was also a -16 in this game, so it didn't really ultimately matter. His actual impact on the game, despite the fact that he grabbed a whole bunch of offensive boards, was middling, I would say, because Denver was able to attack and they were able to space him out on the other end of the floor, and Zeke was a factor in that. He hit a very important 3 in the fourth quarter, and I know that's not really what you're talking about with the defensive stuff, but I do think that one of the reasons why they switched Zeke out there is because they want him guarding these guys. They want him out there guarding these guys sometimes than Tim Hardaway Jr. or Jalen Pickett or Bruce Brown or whatnot, because Zeke is actually just a genuinely good ISO defender in these situations. He was dominating Peyton Pritchard tonight. He was whenever Peyton Pritchard tried to tried to attack Zeke Naji and got him on a switch, did nothing, absolutely nothing. And did some good stuff against Jalen Brown, did some good stuff against other people. Zeke, you want involved in the play defensively as much as possible, which is, I think that's the reason why they do it, as well as resting the other guys and not having them move as much and break down as much.
Rockets lose again. They're now 1 game back of Denver in the loss column. They just lost to the Portland Trailblazers on a last-second play. Oh. So, Denver will maintain its position in the Western Conference.
Lakers also lose to San Antonio. So Denver's getting help here. They are absolutely getting some good help, and it has been there was a lot of panic, and some of it came from me because I just assumed that some of these other teams would take care of their own business, and that's not what happens in January.
Probability. That's the thing. It's just
if you played 60 games in a regular season, it would be a little bit different. But they play 82.
I honestly think that's the biggest thing is if we're reacting in just this moment, the answer is just Peyton Watson's an all-star and he's incredible and he's awesome. And the Nuggets are great without Jokic and all these things. It's come on. If we just look at the big picture, right? If we look at the big picture, the biggest thing here is just you are off of the ledge, right? Where it was like, Jokic is down, Jonas is down. What are you going to do? They can't get a rebound. What are they going to do? They're on the road. They're facing all these teams. They're facing Joel Embiid. They're facing the Boston Celtics. And like, they just stepped up and played basketball and won because they're professional players. And they deserve so much credit for that. But it's also like, they were always going to, like, they are fine. And then they're going to get, like, it was funny, Ryan, you thought that the update yesterday from Shams was negative about Nikola when it was like, hey, they're going to get him back by the end of the month.
I've been listening to you a little bit too much because we're like, he's going to beat this window. There ain't no way he's going to beat it.
There was nothing in the report that said he's not going to beat it.
Yeah. Well, they said late January, which, okay, if we're calling January the 26th or later, then that's 4 weeks.
Yeah. But I will maintain they're not going to move up the timeline. They're not going to allow that to get out. They're never going to move up the timeline because you're not going to put that kind of pressure on him to be like, the minute that you move the timeline, it's like, hey, we think we can get him back in 2 weeks.
I don't think that they're moving it. Like Jokic will move it himself if he's in a position where he feels like
we asked him, I'm sure he would say like, I could probably get back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then Nick O'Hara would be like, that's no questions, we gotta go. How that would go. But like,
it's completely fair. Like, look, yeah. Denver, they're going to go through all these things. And it's going to be tough, but like they're not out of the woods by any stretch of the word. Like they still have to take care of business at home. But
Atlanta, I think Atlanta is actually a sneaky bad spot. You've mentioned this. Like the numbers don't back it up, but the first game back from a road trip, you do win less. I'll say that you win less than you typically do as a home favorite.
Yeah.
Right. And they'll probably be favored in that game because Atlanta's honestly not very good.
They've struggled. Especially without
but this is like a bad spot. Like it's a bad, and it's probably a bad matchup. That much ball pressure with Dyson Daniels. Like Dyson's not actually a plus defender, but he does create a lot.
To be honest, like I don't think Murray thinks about Dyson Daniels at all.
Okay.
Well, we could circle back to that.
Yeah, we got time. Since we're a few minutes over, and I will edit this anyway, as I have been. If you are listening on the podcast and you've been like, these episodes have ended weird, I am editing them down to make our overlords happy. If you want to catch the full episode, just go to youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets. Because I mean, we just have too much. The Nuggets have won games without Nikola.
It's been wild. There's been a lot to talk about.
It's crazy. It's so great. I am proud is not the right word. I respect and admire what the Nuggets have done so much.
It's a big deal. Like, obviously, you don't get Denver's been in this situation for the last 3, 4, 5 years where the pressure's just been so high, and Jokic has been out there for the vast majority of it. He's been out there, and you don't get to see this version of them that often. And there were a couple of folks that were saying online that I tend to agree with. Like, it's just nice it's almost a breath of fresh air when Denver's playing this hard because they know they have to. Like they know they have to, like you can't play not hard in this situation. So Denver against Philly, they went all out and got a very valuable win. And then against Boston, I don't think it was less. I think it was less about playing hard against Boston and just out executing them and playing really well. And so it was nice to see them combine both of those two things together. And like maybe they could discover a little bit of identity here. Like it's nice to see.
What would you give Zeke Naji for a 5-star rating tonight?
4.5.
Okay. What would you give Peyton Watson? It's a 5.
Yeah, 5.
I'd probably go 4.5 because the turnovers bug me.
For sure.
But 4.5 still great. Jamal was like 8 of wow. Like Jamal.
Can he get 6 out of 5?
Yeah, 21 points, 8 of 17 shooting, 3 of 9 from 3, 17 assists, 1 turnover. One turnover. Yeah, he gets
had 2. He had the second one like right at the end of the game.
Mine I pull up the box score with 112 remaining.
yeah. He had the jump ball that he allowed and then got out jumped for it, and that counts as a turnover. It was 1.5 turnovers, we'll call. He gets a 6 out of 5. He was unbelievable as a playmaker. And like Boston was scrambling. They were chasing him around the entire end of the floor, and he was putting them through the ringer, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. Okay, that'll do it for Locked On Nuggets. Appreciate you guys being with us. We'll see you guys again tomorrow as swipe and grab should be interesting. That'll be a fun show. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining us on Locked On Nuggets.
Do you guys have an opinion on Peyton Watson and Christian Brown?
I wish I didn't.